Hi, welcome back to Virtual Delta Middle School Week 4. I hope you all had a happy Easter. Let's get right into ELA 7 Virtual Edition for today, Tuesday, April 14th. Calendar has just totally gotten away from me. April 14th, 2020. Today, we've got just a few things going on. One, vocab list 22, which means that we've got concept circles due today. We've got an article in our Scope magazines to read today. And then we've got Reading Plus for this week that we need to get moving on. And of course, as always, feel free to read. All right, so let's get going on vocabulary list 22. Ready? I say, you say. Coagulate. Yeah, that's a fun one, isn't it? It's a medical term. It means to clot, like your blood. It should clot. So the part of speech for coagulate is a verb. It starts with the word to. That's just one definition if you hadn't already pieced that together. So to clot, one definition. It's a verb, and the connotation there is neutral. I mean, it is a good thing for your blood to clot at certain times, but other times it's not so great. So, you know, it's kind of one of those, yeah, we feel pretty okay about it, but nothing too special. Let's see. Next up, equitable. Equitable means fair to all concerned. We're going to do one definition there, and we're just going to take off concerned at the end. So fair to all is our definition for equitable. The part of speech is an adjective, and we're usually pretty okay with things being equitable. So that's a positive connotation. We like for things to be fair. So come up with an example of something that you know could be described as equitable. Next up, obsolete. Obsolete means no longer in use or in fashion. So we are going to go with no longer used and not in fashion as our two definitions. No longer used, not in fashion. Okay, so we shortened those up a little bit, kind of changed a couple of words to make sure that we can fit three things that really show us the meaning, or I'm sorry, two definitions that are 3 words each that really kind of show us the meaning of the word obsolete. Okay, so that brings us to our 4th word, belligerent. Belligerent means showing a readiness to argue or quarrel. So I hope you're not being belligerent while we're at home all of these days. So we're going to do 2 definitions with that. The first one is readiness to argue. Readiness to argue is our first, and readiness to quarrel. And belligerent is an adjective, and its connotation is negative. We don't usually want to associate with someone who is belligerent and being argumentative or quarrelsome. We might even say cantankerous. So think of an example of maybe a time when you've witnessed some belligerence, or a time you've been belligerent, or maybe a person you might describe as belligerent. Again, not in the building. All right, candid. Candid means open and honest. So I want to see 2 definitions there. Open, honest. A lot of people have been taking definitions like that and just going, oh, 3 words, it all goes in one. And then they look up 2 synonyms. You guys are always talking about how you don't want to look up synonyms. So don't look up any extra synonyms on this one, just open and honest, okay? 2 definitions. Part of speech is an adjective, and it's generally a positive trait. Generally a positive trait. So think of someone who is candid, who will be open and honest with you and always tell you the truth, even if it hurts. Let's see, next. Infallible. Infallible means incapable of error, never wrong. Okay, so 2 definitions there. We don't need to do any changes or anything with that. Incapable of error is one definition, and never wrong is the other. That is an adjective, and usually that's a positive connotation. Sometimes we use the word negatively if we're being sarcastic. So this is a word that I've heard used in a sarcastic sense before, and in that case it would be negative, but usually the word infallible will be positive. So think of a good example of someone or something that is infallible. I mean, if you were allowed to use people who were in the building, I would say Mrs. Dixon, but I'm kidding. Not even true. Not even a little bit. All right, to the backside. Ready? Acronym. An acronym is a word formed from the first letters of several other words. Whew. That's a long definition. What are we going to do with that? Well, here we go. We've got word from letters and then first letters. Those are our two definitions. Words from letters and first letters. Okay, those are our two definitions for acronym. An acronym is a noun. We know that because the definition starts with the word A, and the connotation there is neutral. It's like, nah, okay, could go either way. I don't really feel any kind of way about it, really. All right, next, substantial. Substantial means considerable, large, significant. Those are our three definitions: considerable, large, and significant. The part of speech for the word substantial is an adjective, and the connotation, what did I say there? Neutral, because something can be substantially positive or substantially negative. Like, it could be a substantial loss, or it could be a substantial gain. So it could go either way. All right, we've got tactic. A tactic is a strategy, plan, or scheme for reaching a goal. Strategy, plan, scheme. Those are our three definitions for tactic. The part of speech is a noun, and that can be pretty neutral, really, but sometimes we think of tactics as a negative, and it's actually because of how it's been used in the past. For instance, in the book Animal Farm, written by George Orwell, it's a great read. I really recommend it. Like, next year when you're taking American history, world history, it's a really good read. I actually read it with my sophomores a lot, and we kind of used it together in our history class because it talked about the Russian Revolution, and it used animals from a farm to demonstrate what happened during the Russian Revolution, and a lot of things that happened in the Russian Revolution were not very good. But in the book, the lead pig who represented Stalin in the Russian Revolution would always say tactics, tactics, when he was talking about his strategies or his plans to take over the farm. And so the word tactics kind of has a little bit of a negative connotation because oftentimes we use it to describe kind of a sneaky scheme, something that, you know, is intended to bring negative consequences to others. So a lot of times the word tactic is used in a negative sense. All right, 3 to go. Facetious. Yeah, I know that's not what it looks like, right? It doesn't look like that's what it says, but the word is pronounced facetious. It means playful or humorous, joking, okay? And there's another 3 definition for you. Playful, humorous, joking. Okay, those are our 3 definitions for the word facetious. The part of speech is adjective, and usually facetious has kind of a positive connotation. Normally, if we're being facetious, we're just joking around and playing. Sometimes it can be kind of sarcastic, but usually it has a positive connotation. Down to the bonus words. We've got misnomer, a wrong or inaccurate name for something. I didn't give you say time. Misnomer. So we've got wrong name, inaccurate name. Wrong name, inaccurate name. Okay, those are our 2 definitions there. The part of speech is a noun, and usually this is going to have a negative connotation because you know, it's something is misidentified. It's usually kind of negative. I think there's an example of this I've been using all year long, like that has to do with our class and the name for it. Like maybe ELA and communications. Like maybe the class should be called communications class because that's what we're learning to do. So that might be a good example if you can't think of another. Speaking of examples and finding them, don't forget that this handy dandy sheet, which you can find in the module for today, has example sentences that might help you to come up with an example to use in your concept circles. All right, final word, skulk. Skulk means to slink or move in a slinking way. So we've got two definitions there. To slink is one, and to move slinkingly. To move slinkingly is the definition there. Okay, skulk is a verb and it has a negative connotation. If you are skulking around, it's usually a lot of times like people will call the police and be like, hey, someone's skulking around my house, that kind of thing. It has a negative connotation. All right, so those are your vocabulary words for this week. Again, there's no vocab quiz this week, but there will be a test over all 72 at some point during this quarter. So we are actually more than halfway through our vocabulary list right now. This is the 4th list of this quarter because we're just running right through them. So make sure that you're keeping on top of all of those words and you know what they are so that you're prepared for that test when it comes along. So yeah, like I said, this is our 4th list. There are 6 for the quarter. So we're like, once we get this done, we're 2/3 of the way there. So make sure that you are keeping track of your words and reviewing them regularly, okay? So concept circles are due today. So we need to make sure that we're getting those completed and turned in on Canvas. Just a couple of reminders because I'm still seeing people just like they forgot how to do concept circles. So 3 words per section, okay? The little pie pieces, only 3 words goes in any given pie. There's really not room for more than that. Okay, so 3 words per section, and we need to be looking up our synonyms in a thesaurus, not just like throwing any old word that we think seems close. It's like people are giving me like rhyming words, and I'm like, that's not a synonym, that's a rhyme. So look up your synonyms in a thesaurus, not off the top of your head, and you need to make sure that you are labeling your sections, okay? D for definition, S for synonym, E for example. And also, we should be starting in the top left-hand box for that. I've got people, I don't know, all of a sudden people are like, I'm gonna start in the bottom this week. Don't start in the bottom. Start in the top left corner, okay? Top left for you, there you go. Start in the top left corner, go across, go to the bottom in the left corner, and then go across. Okay, we've been doing it that way all year, so I don't know why all of a sudden people are deciding they're gonna change it up. Don't change it up, okay? Do things the same way that we've been doing them all year long. All right, so there's your vocabulary list for this week. Scope Magazine, we are going to read the article called "The Day We Sent a Message to Aliens." It's a short article because we have a short week, so it's just a 2-page article. It starts on page 26 of your Scope Magazine and clearly ends on page 27. So all I need you to do today is just read the text, and that helps you to be prepared for what we're going to do with it tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Okay, so today all you need to do is read the 2 pages. So you can find that in your Scope Magazine if you still have that. Your February Scope Magazine, that's where that's coming from. It's on pages 26 and 27. I'll have a PDF uploaded in today's module, and then there's also a link to Scope Magazine online in the module. The access code will be in the link text. Okay, the access code is right there in the link text. Finally, there will be an audio file of me reading that text if you'd like to listen as you read along with whichever copy you choose to read the text from. But I do want you following along, not just listening and going, oh, that was nice. I want you to follow along so that you have a little bit of a better recollection of the text when it comes time to do the activities that go with it. All right, so recap for today. Concept Circles 22, read "The Day We Sent a Message to Aliens" from your Scope Magazine. Work on Reading Plus. Please don't save it for the end of the week. Like, you guys are making me nervous every week, and then you're like rushing through stuff and getting horrible scores. we need to take our time and we need to do better, okay? And then finally, as always, feel free to read new episodes or new segments of The Benefits of Being an Octopus will hit YouTube this week. All right, well, have a great week. And as always, if you have any questions, email me at ddixon, D-D-I-X-O-N, @pdys.org, or you can message me on Canvas, or you could also stop in at office hours on Zoom from 10 to 11, Tuesday through Friday this week, and 1 to 2, Tuesday through Friday this week as well. Have a great day.